Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Steele, and today I will be reflecting on my leadership interview for Dr. Sauchik's leadership development class. Today, I interviewed Lisa LaPlume, a national sales trainer for Hardware Resources with over 35 years of experience in her field. She's a member of their executive team and a very strong component of what they do. I always knew that I would select her if I needed to do a leadership project because she's extremely influential and she's also my girlfriend's mother, giving me easy access to this wealth of information. She has 55 employees working under her who she trains and mentors in various different ways, making sure that they're ready for their career and ready to be a part of the team. I got the interview through my girlfriend, who texted her quickly to see if she was available. And I know for a fact that she's willing to do anything to help the people she loves, which is one of her magnificent qualities as a leader. So without further ado, let's dive right in and see exactly what Lisa LaPlume has to offer us in terms of leadership. During the interview, I had a very wonderful experience with Lisa. She was a fantastic conversationalist and kept me very engaged by asking about my family, finding out what was going on in my life, and giving me reasons to continue the conversation. She has an air of leadership, is a great way of putting it. She was decisive in her answers, she was prepared, and she was always ready to back up her answers with experiences. She spoke with confidence, a very important trait of a leader. And during the interview, I noticed that she would take the time to see how I was doing, see if there was anything she could do to help, any questions that perhaps she could answer without me needing to ask them. She asked me about my graduation date, and she was very inclusive, which is how I believe her leadership style translates. I know for a fact that Lisa was very tired during our interview. She let me know that she needed to wake up, or she had woken up at 3 a.m. the previous day because she needed to catch a flight. Now, this is not ideal situations for anybody, but me, being a little bit of a procrastinator, chose to interview her at night. And she still took the time to make sure that I got everything I needed, even though she was completely tired, had no reason to be awake at that time, and wanted to go to bed. She took the time for me to make sure that I had everything I needed in this project. She's considerate and real as a person. She's blunt often to the point of getting her in trouble, but she always knows what's best for her. And she let me know that one time, while she was being very blunt to the president of the company, he ended up giving her a promotion. And that's a great result if you ask me. When she was discussing her key characteristics for leadership, I started by asking her about an influential person in her life. And almost immediately, she knew who that person was. It was her mother. Her mother embodied all the values of leadership that she thought were the most important, including grit, the ability to listen, and empathy. Being the executive vice president of a big corporation in Washington during a time where women did not have that position is extremely admirable, and that's exactly what her mother did. She described her as a pit bull, someone who was willing to fight and make sure she got exactly what she wanted. She pushed her way through the glass ceiling by having discipline and organization. These were all things that Lisa was saying about her mother in terms of how important it is to have grit in the workplace. She also made a very clear point of saying that listening was one of, if not the most important quality that a leader should have. It can make or break someone as a leader. She believes that when you're running your mouth, you can't hear what other people are saying. And she even went as far as to provide a recent example of a director in her company who does not listen and micromanages his employees to the point where they complain daily and are dropping their productivity. This is something that Lisa believed could be reversed if he only took the time to listen and trust the people in his regiment. Another quality Lisa believed was one of the most important that a leader should have was empathy. She's done the job that the people under her have done, so she understands exactly what they're going through. She knows that if something isn't getting done, it's probably for a good reason, and provided another example where an employee was working under her who was a recent hire, a millennial, was learning things a little bit slowly, but she helped him along, and finally, with that empathy, she was able to get him going and get him confident in his role. After the interview, I had a lot of different perceptions about Lisa. I never had a conversation with her that was directly related to the workplace, so I was very excited to unwrap all those things that I'd learned. It's super obvious to me that she takes care of the people in her life. She puts effort to maintain her relationships, and she knows that the things that she does has an effect on the people she's talking to. She took the time to make sure that I was comfortable. She asked me about my family, she asked me about my life, and she asked me about how things were going with her daughter. These are all things that are very important to her. I also understand now that she's tough as nails, and she's extremely outgoing. She only says things that she means as well. To provide an example, when I asked her a question about the most important characteristics in a leader, I attempted to bait her by hinting that the answer is outgoing. I was asking, now, is being outgoing the most important quality in a leader that you believe? And she didn't take the bait. She said, no, I don't think it is. I believe that listening is one of the key qualities. She only says what she means, and she always backs it up. She exemplifies many of the characteristics of servant leadership that we observed in Dr. Sauchik's class, including empathy and self-awareness. She let me know that her bluntness has almost gotten her into trouble a few times and more often intimidated people, which I can certainly understand. With this in mind, she was very aware of her shortcomings, including intimidation, which in some cases is not a bad thing, and bluntness and impatience. She said that that was another thing she was attempting to work on, and she was very aware of it. She also said that her daughter asked her for love and patience for Christmas, and she said, I can give you love, but I don't think I can buy patience. She also understands the importance of listening and building community, other pillars of servant leadership. She told me a story about a recent hire who was a millennial that wasn't exactly fitting in, so she made sure to spend time with him and get him comfortable with his role and build that community up from underneath. While during the interview, Lisa made some very interesting statements that I believe will stick with me for the rest of my life. She sees leadership as a pendulum. It goes back and forth between the leader and the follower, and she wants to make sure that there's never too much swinging in one direction or the other. Because if someone is giving a lot, that means that at the end they need to be receiving a lot. And if that is not the case, then there's something that needs to change in that leader-follower relationship. She also said, the best leaders I have ever had have been good listeners, and the worst have not. That stuck with me very much, and I believe that I will be taking time to learn the practices of active listening and follow through with things that I believe are important. Another quote from Lisa is, I give a lot of positive feedback, so it's like they want to please me in relation to people she is leading. She views leadership as a give and take relationship, and when she gives that positive feedback, she receives a better performance because the people under her want to please her because they like her, not because they want to meet a deadline or figure out a quota or something like that. A final quote that I believe was very impactful in my interview with Lisa is, instead of thinking he should do things my way, I was watching to see how he did it his way, in reference to the millennial who was not exactly sure about his role in the company. She could have micromanaged and done exactly what she didn't want to and hated in a leader, but instead she took the time to make sure that he was comfortable, that he was aware, and finally, that he knew his place, and that he could see that there was a family here that he wanted to be a part of. After the interview, it was very obvious to me that Lisa was an exceptional leader. She takes the time to go online, follow her people that she finds inspiring, such as Simon Sinek, and see what they're up to. She reads their articles, she takes in that information, and she becomes a better leader because of it. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I appreciate you viewing my presentation. Bye-bye.